Hello, Game of Life 8 class. These are the directions for the plan for high school assignment that you're going to find on Google Classroom. And I really am probably going to go more through the link here, which is the book, than anything. Because once you get the book figured out, the rest of this is pretty easy. So what I want you to pay attention to, you see this assignment's not very long because I want you to really focus on looking at and finding a pathway that kind of fits the career that you looked at. So the program of studies book, and you might actually have this physically. I don't know if they would have sent them home to you, but if you don't, there's kind of two ways to get it. This link, if you click that, takes you to here. This is actually on, I think I'm on the TJ. It doesn't really matter what school. The book is the same. Oh, no, it's just linked in there. So this is through the academic department of our Council Bluffs school. And really, this book's just a big old PDF. Like I said, you might have this physically if you're ever in person or maybe they sent it home to you. But otherwise, the PDF is fine. So I'm hoping that they will have updated this every single year. So like this is the current one. Next year, it should say 2022 to 23. But in case they don't, or this link doesn't work, if it breaks, I also downloaded the PDF and put it in my drive for this year's book. So if this link doesn't work or have the most current one or isn't working, because I don't know if they're ever going to change where they host that, just use the PDF here. The pages should be the same. And usually from year to year, it doesn't change very much. And if it does, I'll probably update this assignment. So when you get the book open, the PDF or physically in front of you, you want to go to either 34 in the physical book or 35 in the PDF. And so I'm going to do it on the actual PDF here because it's easier. And so you can look for, these would be the physical pages, right? Or you can go to the page on the PDF, and it's like, I don't know why. I think because of the cover, it's one above. So I wanted to go to 30, what was it, 35? This page here. So these are kind of the broad categories that I should pause, hold up. So Council Bluffs schools, what they've done for high school kids, for you guys, going to become freshmen, what they've created in the middle of this program of studies book. So like I said, the beginning is like the handbook. The middle is this program of studies, and then the end is just all the electives and classes offered, and it kind of tells you all about them. But what these are is they made these pathways, is what they call them, and they kind of go with Dr. Murillo's vision of every student should graduate with your diploma plus something else, whether that's an accreditation through the TradeWorks program, either at Iowa Western or through TJ. Maybe it's through the College Credit Acceleration Program, where you can get some college credit while in high school. Might be through the Early College Academy, where you're actually taking classes at Iowa Western for, I think, your last 2 years. Or a lot of the certificate programs. And they kind of tell you, this is what, page 27. They kind of talk about, and you can read the letters if you want. But they talk about these are all the CE classes. CE just means it's college credit and high school credit that's offered. So you can see all those that are offered, and this is for both TJ and AL. And then if you're looking at some of the other pathways, say TradeWorks at Iowa Western, you kind of have to turn your head there. But these are the areas that it kind of offers it in terms of jobs. Same for this is the College Credit Acceleration. These are the areas. These aren't necessarily jobs, but these are just kind of areas where they offer college credit. That could go towards a job for sure. If you're looking at the certificate program, they have that in the culinary arts, health sciences, and early childhood education. I think that one's new actually, which is really exciting. And you kind of look at the years those are offered to, things like that. What I do want to focus on first is this though page. So these are like when you did the assessment thing on the Future Ready Iowa, and it gave you those, they call them career matches, those kind of big categories. This is kind of what those are. And so, for example, mine was education and training. I would probably want to find what big category on here matched with what I had on my career results. And so mine's actually human services here. And if you're unsure, let's say I thought it was human services, but I wasn't sure. If I go to where it starts to say that, so I'm looking for blue, because these are color-coded. Blue, 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 blue. When you get there, it'll tell you kind of the two big pathways in the cluster. And that's kind of where, okay, that's exactly what I had, right, was education and training. So that's kind of what you look for. If it's not on there, these don't cover all the careers that are available. Just try and find what would be kind of closest that you think. So that's kind of our first question. You're going to find what big categories, what big pathways does Council Bluffs offer that would fit with the job that I researched earlier this week. That's the first thing. And then once you kind of scroll to that particular pathway, like I'm going to be doing the human services one, because that's the one that matches with my career. I'll show you what you're looking for. So here's human services. It tells me the two different, pathways. And then these would be like the certain jobs that it would lead to. So mine is educator. And then they'll have kind of the big header of the pathway, right? So I didn't want hospitality or tourism, so I'm going to scroll and I'm going to stop at education and training. Now, it's really cool, and I really, really like the way they did this. If I want a job in this category, this pathway of education and training, they will suggest classes to take for each year based on what kind of education or higher learning I want to have after high school. So if I only want to graduate with a high school diploma and then try and get a job in education and training, this is the pathway I would take, this first one here. If maybe I want to get a certificate, say at Iowa Western, that early childhood education certificate, I would do this kind of pathway here. If maybe I want to try and get my diploma, whether that's my associate's or my bachelor's, our diploma, I might have that wrong. I'm not sure what that is. I think degree would then be associates. They'll give me suggestions for what classes to take, right? Same for elementary education. And I'm going to focus predominantly on secondary since I teach secondary. So once you have the pathway, this figured out for the job that you want, the amount of training you want after, and you can do that based on that education training that you would have looked up on your career. If it says you need a bachelor's, you're looking for one of these that says degree. If it says you need an associate, I think you're still in degree, but you might want the AAS because A would be associate's degree. I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong though, but these are both A's, so I'm not really sure. I don't know what the diploma is. I should know that. But certificate is like lower than an associate's, but a little bit more than a high school versus this is the high school. So try and find the one that you think matches best. And then all you're going to do for the assignment, once you have that figured out, is you're just going to try and list some of the classes or electives that it suggests for you to take. That's it. So like for a teacher, secondary is what I am. The elective, because these are all core, you can kind of ignore these top parts here because you have to take the core. But when you get to electives, it says I should take that my freshman year. My sophomore year, my 10th grade year, I should take that elective. And obviously, you're going to take other electives too. You got to have 9 classes total, just like you do at Wilson or Kern. But this would be the one that for sure I should take, given that's what I want to do for a career. Now, when you get to 11th and 12th grade, you got a lot more options. So, and this can kind of depend on what I want to teach possibly too, in my case. But these are some classes I should take for electives or should possibly take, right? Child growth and development would be a good one. They have a foundations of education, maybe environmental science or public speaking. Those are all suggestions. So you don't have to take all these, but they're suggestions that would help me on my career path. Notice when I get to 11th grade and 12th grade, it's not really talking as much about core classes as it is now mainly electives to take that are kind of career focused. Some of these are core, right? The history one, composition is language arts class, right? 12th grade, they got intro to bio, which you would have probably taken in 10th grade. So they list some that are core, but these are more electives. Anyway, so you can use those classes, and I just want you to write a couple of them, oh my gosh, on your assignment, so just to get you thinking about what to take or what you should sign up for if you haven't already, okay? And then there's just one last question, right? Because you're most likely going to change your mind between, now and, junior year or whatever. Maybe you get a new career in mind. What other careers or what other careers kind of match the classes that you would have taken? So like if I took, child development, I no longer want to be a teacher. What's another career I could have that class would help with, besides education? And I could probably think of a couple. I mean, it's usually around childcare and whatever, but that's all that assignment is. So a lot of it's trying to figure out how to use the book. But if you watch this video, you should be good to go to fill this out. Good luck, and hopefully you find something that you like. Have a great day. Bye.